Greetings and salutations. Welcome to another episode of 365 Days of Gaming. Really appreciate you taking time to check out this video. Do what the thing says on the screen around this area. Thank you very much. Appreciate you in advance. Now, I promise you, this is the last solo Street Fighter episode, right? Can't confirm or deny crossover episode, but this is going to be the last one that's just Street Fighter. Maybe, possibly. This is the anniversary collection. Now, this is a 2-for-1, right? Because the anniversary collection, which was on the PS2 and Xbox, had a version of Street Fighter 2, and then it also had a version of Third Strike. So we're going to talk about first Hyper Street Fighting 2, the anniversary edition, right? The biggest difference in this one was, at the time, this was very different. You could pick any version of the Street Fighter 2 character depending on what it came from. So, for example, if you played with Ryu, you could pick, Championship Edition, Original Street Fighter 2, Street Fighter 2 Turbo, Super Street Fighter, and Super Street Fighter 2 Turbo. Now, personally, I don't know why you would pick not Super Turbo because they got super moves, but I'm sure there was some competitive reason why you would pick different versions and variations because they had, slightly differences with the hit properties and all of that, frame data and things that I don't care enough about. So I always picked the Super Turbo edition of everybody because they had super meters, and I always thought that was smart. But it's, essentially the definitive version, especially at the time, of Street Fighter 2. Like, this was everything you knew. All the animation is refined. All of the characters are there. You can still do the Akuma code, all of those things. And it was a really good way to kind of go back and play the original Street Fighter 2 without having to, get a Genesis or SNES, because we definitely weren't going to no arcade to find this, because at this point, arcades are pretty much dead and gone in this area. So I always enjoy the fact that this game, had multiple games on it. But the real reason we're here, right? And there's no reason to play around and act like it's not true. But the real reason that we were here was for Third Strike. Now, I know that historically, the Street Fighter 3 series, all the entries were not, that well received. But I also know that, it was basically this, and MVC2 was the FGC for a while as well, right? I really enjoyed Third Strike. I think it was one of the best entries into the Street Fighter franchise. I know that some people, feel a way about it. There's certain aspects of it that they didn't like or did like and think that it's like the de facto game forever. I just look at these all as like different time periods, and they represent that for me. So I don't really compare the different versions, like Alpha series versus Third, or the 3 series versus 2 and all that. So I like Third Strike because I like the characters and I like the music, and it's still Street Fighter, and it played really, really well. My only issue with Third Strike was always that you had to select a super. Now, I understand why it's in the game. I understand why they set it up that way. But me, I'm a fan of give all of my characters all of the tools that they can use and let us decide how it works out. And that was the one thing I didn't like about Third Strike initially. But on the anniversary edition, you can unlock the ability to have all of the supers available every time. So like the meter changes to where it's the 3 meter, but you get access to all of your supers no matter what. And then like for Akuma, obviously you got to fill all 3 meters up in order to do stuff like the Raging Demon and the thing where he hits the ground. I don't even know what it's called. But this is what me and Steven used to play all the time, like heavy Third Strike, and particularly this version because he played with Chun-Li and he wanted to, super cancel from one super to the next. And I play, Akuma or Remy, bring back Remy in Street Fighter 6. Throw that out there. Wishful thinking. But this was a game that this is a game that represents a certain time. This is like 2007, 2008. Me and Ronnie and Steven in the apartment together, and a load of Street Fighter Third Strike being played. Like just battling back and forth, parrying things we didn't mean to parry. Playing with pretty much the whole roster from time to time. Like to me, there wasn't really any bad characters, just characters that just didn't fit what I wanted to do. But I'm a big Sean fan, love Alex, Dudley, come on, man, you got a gentleman boxer, like it's easy work, right? It's just, there's no brainers in these choices, but this was a fantastic game and a fantastic time. So I wanted to make sure that we shouted this out before we concluded this thing. Now, if you're familiar with this version of Third Strike, I would love to hear from you. If you're just a fan of Street Fighter and just want to throw out who your favorite characters were, whether it was in the original Street Fighter 2 or all the way up and through Third Strike. You know, it's all fair game. But I appreciate you letting me reminisce with you. Y'all have fun. Y'all be safe. Peace.